Wiz one of the ones. You know what I'm saying? He didn't get to talk. My nigga Wiz one of the ones. One of the ones. Versatile.
The internet went wild after a shocking clip dropped. It shows BigXThaPlug allegedly pulling the trigger on his own homie, Z the Wizard, right inside a Dallas club on New Year's Day 2026. The scene looks unreal, with Z, who had just been signed to Future's Free Bands label, left fighting for his life. Reports say shooters stormed the Pink House Dallas, lighting the place up and hitting 5 people that night. Let's dive into what really went down when the party turned into chaos. The Pink House Dallas was supposed to be the spot for New Year's Eve 2025. Its grand opening had everyone in the city buzzing. This after-hours joint near Empire Central and North Stemmons Freeway had lined up local artists for what was meant to be a wild celebration. But the energy flipped quick when 2 big names rolled through, BigXThaPlug and Z the Wizard. BigXThaPlug, whose real name is Xavier Landum, had been making serious noise for the last couple of years, carving out a name as one of the coldest voices in Texas rap. His hit Texas went gold and racked up over 330 million streams, turning him into a certified star. By late 2025, he was even branching out, linking up with country superstar Luke Combs for some unexpected collabs that had fans losing their minds. Everything was lining up for Big X until this shocking night changed everything. Jelly Roll and Bailey Zimmerman had just announced their joint album, I Hope You're Happy, blending that gritty southern trap energy with smooth Nashville flavor. Around that same time, the city was buzzing about one rising star, Z the Wizard, who was being called the hottest rapper to come out the D in years. Z, born Zach Curie Cannon Grant Fields, was only 25 and repping Oak Cliff, one of the toughest hoods in South Dallas, where you gotta stay alert every minute. His journey into music started after a bad sports injury crushed his athletic dreams, pushing him to find another hustle. By late 2024, he was in full grind mode, dropping heat like Hood Prophet and bangers such as Boss Nah, 4 for 4, and Chevy. His music wasn't just for show, it was about motivation, coming up from nothing and turning the struggle into success. Fans connected heavy with his message about grinding hard and stacking bread no matter what. By summer 2025, even the Dallas Observer couldn't ignore him, naming him one of the top 20 rappers to watch in DFW. Then came August 2025, the major breakthrough. Z the Wizard officially signed with Future's Free Bands label, a move that had everyone saying he was about to go from hood legend to nationwide name. Cosigns started flying in from big names like G Herbo and Rod Wave, proving Z was right on the edge of superstardom before tragedy struck. Mo3's manager, Rainwater, once called Z the Wizard incredibly talented with the potential to take over the whole streets. That wasn't just hype. Both he and BigXThaPlug were part of what people in Dallas had started calling the New Dallas movement.
I can't say that I was shocked, but I'm deeply saddened. Senseless killings of young people are never welcome. And people who are in the hip hop community, especially in Dallas-Fort Worth, we deserve more.
This wasn't just another rap crew. It was a whole wave of young artists linking up with one mission in mind: unity over beef. The lineup was deep. Names like Zillionaire, Do Montana, 700, and Timothy Chung were all putting in work. These weren't just random collabs either. Some of these dudes came from hoods that had been at odds for years. But the point of the New Dallas movement was clear. No more sliding on each other, no more endless street drama. Instead, they'd show love, pull up to each other's shows, repost each other's drops, and actually move like a team. It was their way of rewriting the Dallas rap story, a direct response to the chaos that tore apart the OG generation. The city had already seen too much. Mo3 was gunned down in 2020, and Yella Beezy ended up facing murder charges tied to Mo3's death. The whole Dallas scene had been split for years, but this new wave was trying to flip that pain into progress, pushing for peace and success instead of war. New Year's Eve was supposed to be a big win for Z the Wizard. He was booked to perform at the Pink House Dallas for its grand opening. According to his team, he hit the stage just before midnight and tore it down, with his own family in the crowd cheering him on. The vibe was pure celebration, everyone feeling like 2026 was about to start off right. Once his set wrapped, his family headed out, but he decided to hang back and keep the night going with BigXThaPlug and the rest of the crew. The spot was lit. Footage from earlier that night showed both rappers going wild. Z was literally making it rain, tossing stacks at the dancers like the boss he was, while Big X held down his VIP section with bottles flowing and the whole room turned up. The energy was crazy. Everyone said it felt like a movie. But that movie took a dark turn around 3:45 a.m. on January 1st, 2026. Out of nowhere, gunshots rang out in the parking lot. Dallas police got hit with multiple 911 calls, but by the time they pulled up, the scene was chaos. People had scattered, cars were peeling off, and shell casings were everywhere. 5 people were shot that night, and one of them was Z the Wizard. Family members later told WFAA that Z had been hit several times, and word spread fast that he might have even taken one to the head. He was rushed to the hospital, where doctors placed him in critical condition, fighting for his life. The clip that would later flood every corner of the internet came from those exact moments after the shots. It showed BigXThaPlug outside the club looking shaken, standing in disbelief as he tried to process what had just gone down with his close friend. That clip exploded across social media within hours. It was everywhere. The footage showed BigXThaPlug in an orange jacket leaning against a car in that pink glowing parking lot, looking completely lost in the chaos. You could hear the words that the whole internet would replay a million times. They shot Z in the head. That raw moment hit hard and instantly became the centerpiece of the entire story. Big X didn't take any bullets himself, but his reaction said it all. The shock, the confusion, the heartbreak of realizing your brother just got hit right in front of you. That one clip froze the pain in real time, becoming the image everyone would remember as the story went viral. People couldn't stop watching, analyzing, and sharing it. It felt like the whole city was holding its breath. But then another kind of chaos hit online, the rumors. Within hours, social media started claiming Z the Wizard was already gone. The false news spread like wildfire, way ahead of any official word from police or doctors. By the morning of January 1st, 2026, timelines were flooded with RIP Z posts, tributes, and fan edits across X, Instagram, and TikTok. The internet had crowned him a fallen legend before anyone even knew the real story, leaving fans heartbroken and confused as the truth slowly started to unfold. Tons of people were out here mourning someone who was still alive. The misinformation spread just like it always does. One person drops an unverified post, and before you know it, everyone's running with it without checking a single fact. Blog pages and hip-hop accounts jumped on it fast, reposting wild claims based on pure online chatter instead of real info. It was a mess. Social media turned into a rumor factory overnight. Meanwhile, Z the Wizard's family was living a nightmare, trying to process that their loved one was on life support while also fighting off a tide wave of false reports. Imagine grieving online while your people is literally still fighting for their life. That's the level of pain they were dealing with.
That's where your first fights happen. That's where your first haters come from. That's where you're gonna fail the most and succeed the most, but also at the same time, that's where you're gonna be overly hated.
Montana 700, one of Z's day one brothers and part of the New Dallas movement, was one of the first to speak up. He jumped on his story, thanking everyone for the prayers and support, but made it clear Z the Wizard ain't dead. He told fans the truth straight up. Z was in the hospital, on life support, and still battling to pull through. But by then, the damage was already done. Most people who saw those early RIP Z posts never saw the updates or corrections. The internet had already built its own version of the story, and it spread too fast to stop. Finally, by January 3rd, 2026, WFAA confirmed that Z the Wizard was indeed still in the hospital, alive but in critical condition, clinging to life as the world waited for updates. Z the Wizard's family eventually spoke straight to reporters to clear up all the confusion about his condition. They told everyone they were staying hopeful, praying for a miracle, and just asking for some peace and privacy while he fought for his life. But behind the scenes, things at the hospital were getting wild. It had turned into way more than just a medical situation. Dallas PD had to post up heavy outside the hospital, setting up extra security because crowds started showing up non-stop. Random fans who had never even met Z the Wizard in real life were pulling up, trying to get close, hoping to catch a glimpse or snap a photo. It got so packed that even some of Z's extended family members couldn't get inside. Police had to keep it tight, citing safety concerns, while detectives continued their investigation. Despite the madness, Z's family showed love to Dallas police for holding things down. They thanked them not only for protecting their son, but also for helping hospital staff do their jobs without all the extra chaos. Everyone was just trying to keep things calm so Z could focus on fighting for his life. Hemo Chung, another new Dallas artist and close friend of Z, jumped on Instagram with a message that hit hard. He told people to chill out and stop flooding the hospital. He said, "Let the doctors work, let the family breathe, and stop spreading stuff you ain't verified." Everyone in Z's circle echoed the same thing: respect the process, send prayers, and stop turning tragedy into clout chasing. The entire situation showed just how wild social media gets when a shooting hits the news. Info started flying way faster than the actual facts. Emotions were running the show while real reporting struggled to catch up. The same apps that once helped Z the Wizard blow up his music were now pushing false stories about him being gone before his own family even had time to understand what happened. It wasn't the first time something like this went down. We've seen it before with other rappers, other shootings, other tragedies. But the way Z's story spiraled out of control was next level. In just a few hours, it flipped from shooting at a Dallas club to rising rappers shot dead. It proved how fast the internet can twist reality once a narrative takes off, and how almost nobody stops to fact-check once the drama starts trending. A lot of people online called out the sad irony. The same world that ignored Z's grind was suddenly blasting his music after hearing about the shooting. His streams were spiking, his name was trending, and playlists everywhere started adding his tracks. But all that attention came at the worst moment, when his family was sitting in a hospital praying for him to pull through. What should have been a moment of celebration for his talent turned into a painful reminder of how the internet can build legends out of tragedy. Z the Wizard's loved ones were fighting two battles at the same time: a life-or-death medical crisis and an online storm that wouldn't slow down. Every hour came with new posts, new claims, and new drama, forcing the family to keep jumping online just to remind people that Z was still alive.
So why is it in hip-hop we just can't enjoy the art? Why do we have to live out whatever we're talking about?
It was exhausting. Instead of focusing on healing and prayers, they were stuck correcting strangers who didn't even know the truth. Only Z's immediate family was allowed inside his hospital room at that point. The same artist who had been on stage hours earlier throwing cash and performing in front of his own family was now lying in a hospital bed surrounded only by his closest loved ones. Meanwhile, thousands of people online were arguing about whether he was even still breathing. It was heartbreaking and surreal, like the internet was writing its own story while the real one was still unfolding. The confusion dragged on for days, but through all the noise, the family's message never changed. Z the Wizard was still fighting. He wasn't gone, and they needed everyone to respect that truth, even if the internet seemed determined to bury him before it was time. As for what actually went down inside and outside the Pink House Dallas that night, the details stayed murky. The streets were buzzing with theories, but nobody could say for sure what really sparked the chaos that turned one of the city's biggest nights into a tragedy. Dallas police kept things tight-lipped from the start, refusing to spill much beyond the basics. Most of what was being said online came from random e-witness stories that couldn't be confirmed, and the internet was eating it up. But here's what the cops actually verified, what witnesses claimed they saw, and where the story still didn't add up according to official reports from the Dallas Police Department. Officers responded to calls about gunfire at the Pink House Dallas around 3:45 a.m. on January 1st. When they pulled up, the place was already cleared out, meaning the whole shootout had gone down before the cops even arrived. 5 people had been hit, and one was listed in critical condition. That victim turned out to be Z the Wizard. Police confirmed that the shooting started after some kind of altercation, but they didn't give up any solid details. No info on what the argument was about, who was involved, or what made someone start busting shots in the first place. They didn't name any suspects, didn't confirm if anyone was directly targeted, or if folks just got caught in the crossfire. Meanwhile, social media was going crazy with so-called eyewitness clips and inside stories popping up on YouTube and X. Some people swore they saw BigXThaPlug arguing with someone minutes before shots rang out, while others claimed it all started inside the club. But none of that had been officially verified. Everything was still speculation, the kind of street talk that keeps rumors alive when the truth is still under wraps. According to the street talk that spread after the shooting, it all started when some ops, or maybe a whole group of them, rolled up on Z the Wizard. Words were exchanged, tempers flared, and before anyone could blink, fists were flying. Then somebody pulled out the pole and started letting off shots. But the stories didn't line up. Every version sounded different. Some people said Z the Wizard threw the first punch, while others claimed he was just standing in the wrong place at the wrong time when everything popped off. One account said the shooters ran back to their car to grab more heat, reportedly 2 handguns and a couple of ARs, then came back and started spraying at the crowd as people ran for cover. Another story claimed that someone from Z's crew tried to fire back and that the headshot might have been an accident, possibly even friendly fire. But folks weren't buying that theory, pointing out that Z had been hit multiple times, which didn't fit the idea of just one stray bullet. And then came the talk about the venue itself. The Pink House Dallas. It was new, so fresh that New Year's Eve 2025 was literally its first night open. What was supposed to be a major celebration for the city turned into pure chaos in just a few hours. Instead of kicking off the year with fireworks, the night ended with flashing lights, shell casings, and police tape wrapping around the parking lot. A tragic start for a spot that had been hyped to bring people together. When the smoke cleared, the Pink House Dallas wasn't just another club. It became a symbol of how fast dreams can twist into nightmares. Z the Wizard, a rising star with everything going for him, went from performing on stage to fighting for his life in just a few hours. The Dallas rap scene was left stunned, a city full of talent and potential, now forced to face another tragedy that hit way too close to home. Police kept digging, witnesses kept talking, and the internet kept spinning new stories. But through all of it, one thing stayed real. Z the Wizard's name carried weight. His music, his grind, and his voice had already left a mark. And even as the investigation continued, fans kept streaming his tracks like never before. Whether he makes a full recovery or not, his story became bigger than one night. It turned into a lesson about loyalty, fame, and how fast everything can change when the streets and stardom collide. Dallas had seen this before, talented artists rising fast, only for violence to steal the spotlight. But maybe this time the message will hit harder, that unity and peace will always last longer than beef and bullets. If you've been locked in with this story, don't dip just yet. There's plenty more to uncover. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on what really went down that night. Your voice keeps these stories alive, so let's talk about it.